too would like to thank the Tribune for putting on this event this evening, and the schools and the kids who are videoing it. I'd like to thank all of you for your questions and for showing up this evening and showing your interest in the city. You have a clear contrast of candidates in this year's election. My opponent, Mr. Franklin, who spent 25 years or so in Warren City government. We feel that the city of Warren is headed in the right direction. In the last 25 years has given you what you hope for, and you have an easy choice and you should vote for that. I've traveled a very different path to get here. I've never run for public office before. I'm a retired businessman. I grew up here. I went to Warren Harding. I graduated from Harvard College. I attended college at graduate school at Ohio State. This is a pretty emotional thing for me up here. And I grew up literally one block from this high school. And it's quite an experience to be back. I moved away as a young man. I worked and lived in New York, London, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Columbus. I was part of 3 Fortune 500 companies. I worked in 2 high-tech startups. I was a principal in those. I spent 25 years at Time Incorporated, where, among other things, I was marketing director of Fortune magazine and the associate publisher of People of Fortune magazine. I'm only telling you this because I think it's relevant to what the future holds here. If I hadn't gone away and I hadn't done these things, I wouldn't have the life experiences and pick up the skills, hadn't met the people I met. I wouldn't be able to come back and offer those things to the city in a way that I think could help bring it back. When I retired 5 years ago, I could have gone anywhere, but I chose to come back here. I dove into the world of Warren volunteer work, including helping create the garden district. For those of you who are not familiar with it, the garden district is a lot more than gardens. It was a large-scale effort to renovate and revitalize a 22-square-block area in the city. It included private home ownership, got new people to move into the city. There's nothing else like it that's taken place in the city during my 4 years here, not even on a one-block basis. This is 22 square blocks. I also was a member of the resident advisory committee that council put together to advise the city on the implementation of the strategic plan. Working closely with city officials during that time is what really gave me the sense that we really were pursuing solutions to our problems with enough data and maybe interested in running for office. I'm running to be your mayor in part because nobody else would. We've had the same political party control for a very long time here, and I'm running because I know that we can do better. I hope that the next hour I'll be able to demonstrate to you that I have the ideas and the energy and the enthusiasm that can turn that concept into reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Mr. Mayor, your opening statement.
Thank you. First, and I'll take this off of my time about it, I would like to ask everyone in this auditorium to give a moment of silence for a great man in our community whose family is hurting right now. And I ask for a moment of silence for Coach Tony. Thank you. First, I'd like to say thank you to the Tribune for inviting me this evening, and really thanks to each and every one of you for coming out to participate in this process is very important. I will say that being mayor of the city of Isabel these 4 years has gone extremely quickly. But I want to tell you it's a great honor to be trusted with the position of mayor. But honestly, the title that means most to me is the title of being a citizen of Warren. And that's because I know our city is so special. The people who live here are truly remarkable. The legacy we all share is one that we all share with pride. Strong relationships and partnerships. Now throughout the night, you'll hear me talk a lot about partnerships and relationships. And as you all know, I've been here my whole life. I haven't left. I understand what it means when I hear the phrase Warren Proud. So I look forward to spending this evening with you and talking about the great things we've accomplished together, as well as what we can do together in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's hear it for
about economic development. Mayor Franklin, in recent years, the city has lost many long-time, well-paying manufacturing employers. Given the current economic climate, what are you doing to attract new industry and jobs to Warren? Please be specific.
Okay. Thank you. It is true that we have lost manufacturers over a number of years, probably over the last 30 years. What we've tried to do, what I've been successful in doing is creating new partnerships. One of the things I ran on 4 years ago was to meet every single member of the business community. That was part of my plan. And those roundtable business discussions have produced results, i.e. their technology, the growth that Warren Fields and Design on Parker Road, also T-Bank, which is the home of the new energy incubator in downtown Warren. So we see some progress, and also those relationships I'd like to add, particularly with the Trumbull County Planning Commission, what we're doing with the Global Triangle Project. Most people don't know that there's 3,000 jobs at the Golden Triangle, and there are over 30 companies out there. We're doing planning, and we're also doing it through a EDA planning grant, and we're also taking advantage of that partnership in a brownfield grant coalition that we're doing in the name of $600,000 to help those businesses out there. But we didn't only just say we're going to help you, we actually listened to them. We got their input on what they need, not only to retain those jobs, but to grow those jobs. So while my opponent is talking about growing flowers, I'm talking about planting flowers, I'm talking about keeping plants open. Thank you.
Please hold the applause. What will you do, Mr. Blank, to attract new industry and jobs to Warren?
Well, first let me say that was a good line. Planting flowers. I agree the mayor is a good listener, but the mayor is reacting, not acting on the issue of economic development. There's not a single individual working for the city of Warren whose job it is to promote and actively day to day, day in and day out, bring economic development activities out there into the marketplace and attract new businesses into the city. My 35 years of marketing, I believe, perfectly positions me to structure an operation within the city that will do those kinds of things. And I agree with the mayor, the partnerships are important. Organizations like the Chamber of Commerce have done wonderful things in Youngstown, but we block them from really participating in economic development in this city. A new organization in Warren called the Warren Growth and Opportunity Network is another great opportunity for us to partner with people. I think there are a couple of things that really stand out to me. When I was marketing director of Fortune, we did a study every year. The C-level executives thought about different things, including why they picked one city over another, to open a new factory, move their business, invest more in one city versus another. Year after year after year, the answer to that question is they picked the city that they felt they most liked to live in, and that their employees would be happiest with living. The things that often get called quality of life, nice little niceties, gardens, for example. This is how we get judged. When a new business is thinking about putting a plant in some place and they've got 500 jobs, they do not call the mayor up and say, hey, we'd like to come visit you. They come on their own. They come early. They come in secret. They look around. They make their decisions about what kind of town it is. They don't ask you for your point. We need to make this city look good. We can't keep Christmas decorations up so much.
Thank you, Mr. Blank. Mayor, I have a follow-up for economic development. The Tribune Chronicle in May reported that you and two past administrations have shied away from allowing the regional chamber from taking over economic development efforts for the city. Why is that?
Well, first and foremost, I categorically disagree with Tom Humphries in that statement regarding not permitting that to happen. In fact, Tom Humphries is one of the applicants to manage a property called RG Steel Administration Building. That because of relationship building, we had gifted to the CIC for the Community Improvement Corporation to the city of Maryland. So I agree with Tom Humphries every single one. If we didn't have those relationships, that wouldn't happen. My relationship with the chamber, and particularly Sarasota, North, we don't get 200 new jobs at their technologies, high-paying jobs, I mind you. Start at $65,000 a year without those relationships. So I meet with town conference at the chamber every single month. And our situation is a lot different than Youngstown because there's a lot of old buildings. We don't have a lot of old buildings to give away what they have in hand. So we're ready.
Mr. Blake, you want to respond?
Well, I just think we need to do more with organizations like the chamber. The chamber is who's principally responsible for technology. And again, I would just reiterate, there isn't a single person working in the city of Scotland whose job it is to go out and find new businesses or encourage local businesses to invest more in the city. We're not even in the game. We're not competing against Hubbard and Portland and Hayesville for jobs. We're competing against towns in India and Brazil for jobs. This city has to pick up its game. We've got to be out there competing on an international level, not just a local level. We're not doing that.
Thank you. Mr. Blank, indications are that there will be a reduction of available funds across the board for Warren's budget in 2016. If this is the case, what will be your top spending priority? And where will your first cuts be made?
I think it's highly likely to go through that because we have run a deficit in all 4 years that the mayor has been in office. When Mayor Franklin came in, we had a rainy day fund of about $1.6 million, I believe, a little more actually, and that's all gone. We finished the last 2 months this these past 2 months, with a negative cash balance. The city's not paying its bills for the time we finish anymore. We have some real problems now. The deficit is $350,000, $350, $736. I'd like to go over this year. I wish I could tell you exactly where the cuts would be. Any of you have worked in business, you cannot see the budget of the city board budget. It is the most impenetrable document I've ever seen in business. It isn't set up like any business budget that I've ever seen. It's going to take weeks, if not months, of working with it on a day-to-day basis to really understand because they got money in here, money in there. Nobody really knows where the money is except maybe a handful from the auditor, and that's really the only person in the city who truly understands what it is. From the standpoint of priorities, safety has got to be the #1 priority, but the deficit is so large, I'm certainly not going to stand here and say there won't be any cuts in those areas.
And candidates, I have one request. Can you speak closer to your microphones so the people in the back can hear? All right, Mayor, do you want to have that question number? It's the same question.
First of all, I'd like to go back to the last question, that was our economic development strategy, and no one's working for the city. We have an economic development team that includes the Port Authority, the Chamber, Community Development Planning, and a host of others, but those are the primary principles that does our marketing and our economic development, our approach to economic development, job creation, and retention. Regarding our budget, by law, and I guess it points to the fundamental misunderstanding of how government works, by law, the city of Warren has to have a balanced budget at the end of the year. And as long as I've been in office, we've been able to do that. Otherwise, we'd be in receivership. So my opponent wants to mislead you to think that we're not taking care of our funds. Do we have some deficits? We have had funds cut year in and year out. And I'm not going to blame the state. It's just a matter of fact. Whether it's local government revenue fund, whether it's the state property taxes, we've been cut in every single area. While revenues have been stagnant, I don't know what that is. But we're very poised, and we're doing the things that's necessary to manage the budget next year, i.e. the 911 market, which is going to save us nearly $500,000 a year. Rank reduction in the police department and fire department. Those are all methods, strategies that we've taken with the approval and the cooperation of City Council to make sure we're doing everything we do to cut expenses so that there will be no layoffs, so we can keep services at the additional level that we do right now.
Thank you. Mr. Blank, do you have anything to rebut?
And just one comment, yes, by law, the city does have to balance its budget. The last 4 years, we've balanced the budget by using up the rainy day fund. So on an operating basis, we were running in deficits all 4 years. But there had been a year 619 rainy day fund. That is now all gone.
Thank you. Please hold your applause. All right, the Tribune Chronicle has written numerous stories about the Packard Music Hall contract with Jack Management, JAC. Mr. Mayor, this is for you. Please respond to the critics that argue that the contract with JAC is not profitable enough for the city, particularly criticizing that the city receives no profit from concessions and liquor sales. Also, did you not see any advantage to seeking other bids for the music hall's management contract?
That's a two-part question, so I'll answer the last part first. When we were looking at it, first of all, let it be understood that we didn't go out to seek bids for a contract without authorization from City Council, or we didn't do that behind closed doors. City Council was well aware that we were seeking to absolutely reduce our subsidy to the general fund. Once again, another move to help save police and firemen and people who were affected when we pointed out general fund. So we had a clear goal when we approached this whole project. First of all, it was to reduce the subsidy to the general fund, which was about an average between $250,000 to $400,000 a year. That's not including all the operating expenses. That number was going up. We needed to make that number go south instead of north. We were able to accomplish that with this agreement. But secondly, and most importantly, we wanted to make better use of the hall. Prior to that agreement, the hall was just a rental facility. So we didn't receive any funds then anyway. It was just a drain on the city's general fund. So we wanted to stem that tide. And we also wanted to make sure that we put Packard Music Hall on the map. And anybody here can agree. We've had record sellout shows. When you get Live Nation, which is the largest promoter in the world, bringing shows to Packard Music Hall, who before JAC took over, didn't know Packard Music Hall existed. We think that it's a success, and we'll be and we're 2 years into the contract. 3 years we'll be renegotiating a better product, and that's what it's all about. I think we've accomplished that goal. Thank you.
You care to respond about the Packard?
I would. First of all, just to keep this in perspective, a record sellout show was, I think, about 2,400 people. Joe Walsh show last week, tickets probably averaged $120. Warren's share of that was $600 for the entire night. We get 25 cents a ticket, and from that, we have to pay all repairs in the music hall, about $3,000. We've given them our liquor license, we get zero out of that. The fact that the city has determined that it was within their legal right to give that contract to someone without a bid is arguable to begin with, but that is beside the point. It wasn't right. This is one of the crown jewels of the city. It was a good goal to have to try and make it a more marketable and profitable asset for the city. But turning it over to someone with in a no-bid contract where we get virtually nothing from it is ridiculous. As is the argument that this is somehow fiduciarily responsible because of the subsidy. That might make a little bit of sense, not complete, if all the employees that we were subsidizing had stayed with JAC, but they didn't. They all came onto the payroll of the city of Warren. So we're still paying the money that we were paying to subsidize the music hall, only for other activities. We've given the hall away, and the thing that never gets talked about, I mean, it's the most lopsided contract I've ever seen in my entire life. And I spent 35 years in business. There's just no upside for the city. And the thing that hasn't really been talked about much, many of you in the audience may know this, there are a lot of local nonprofit organizations that over the years have had their annual dinner or something there. Talk to those people. They've had their prices tripled, quadrupled, and all of that money goes to JAC.
You have a minute to rebut.
Thank you. Once again, I say it's a fundamental misunderstanding of how government finance works. Those employees that you're talking about who remain on the city payroll, they're not in the general fund anymore. That's what our goal was, to isolate the general fund from that stuff. So they're working in enterprise funds, which isn't going to be related to our income tax. That's the first thing. And I think, to say that it isn't a home run for the city, I mean, it's a great opportunity for the city to actually put back what is all on the entertainment now. And not to mention the spin-off offers. I've talked to restaurant owners who always talk about when Packer Music Hall sells out, there's thousands and thousands of dollars that goes into the local economy. That spin-off effect is very important as well. Thank you.
This question is directed first to Mr. Blank. What is your impression of the existing police and fire department staffing levels? Would your administration move to adjust those levels? And if so, how would you make this happen?
It's been over 30 years since there was any kind of fundamental reorganization